The sweet scent of roses and lilies filled the small flower shop on Oak Street. Sunshine streamed through the large front windows, catching dust particles that danced in the light. Outside, the town of Pine Grove went about its normal Tuesday afternoon business. People walking dogs, shoppers carrying bags, and cars occasionally passing by. Inside Petal Dreams, Lily Chen hummed softly as she trimmed the stems of a fresh delivery of daisies. At 43, she had owned this little shop for nearly 16 years. Her life revolved around the changing seasons of flowers: spring tulips, summer sunflowers, fall chrysanthemums, and winter poinsettias. The rhythm of nature gave her comfort after her husband Tom had passed away 5 years ago. The old brass bell above the door jingled, pulling Lily from her thoughts. She looked up, scissors still in hand, to see the door pushing open very slowly. A moment later, she spotted the reason for the struggle. A boy in a wheelchair was trying to maneuver through the entrance. "Hold on. Let me help you," Lily called, quickly setting down her tools and hurrying to hold the door wide. The boy looked up with a grateful smile. He seemed around 12, with messy light brown hair that fell across his forehead and needed a trim. His cheeks were dotted with freckles, and behind round glasses his eyes were a striking deep blue. Intelligent eyes that seemed older than his years. "Thanks," he said softly, wheeling himself inside. His chair was clearly well used, with scuffed armrests and a small backpack hanging from one handle. His jeans and blue t-shirt were clean but had the soft, faded look of clothes washed many times. "Welcome to Petal Dreams," Lily said, returning to her usual place behind the counter but keeping an eye on her young visitor. "Can I help you find something?" The boy wheeled himself forward, looking around with obvious interest at the colorful displays. "I need flowers," he said, then added with a small laugh, "I guess that's why everyone comes here, right?" Lily smiled. "Most people, yes. Special occasion? It's my mom's birthday tomorrow." The boy moved closer to a display of carnations, touching a pink petal gently. "I've been saving up. I want to get her something really nice." "That's thoughtful of you," Lily said, coming around the counter. "I'm Lily, by the way." "I'm Joey," the boy replied, extending his hand in a surprisingly grown-up gesture. His handshake was firm despite his small hand. "Joey West. Nice to meet you, Joey. Do you know what kind of flowers your mom likes?" Joey's face brightened. "Lilies, isn't that funny? Same as your name." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, worn leather wallet. "She always stops to look at them in the grocery store, but she never buys them. Says they're too expensive just for us." He opened the wallet, and Lily could see several carefully folded bills inside. "I've been doing computer work for our neighbor, Mr. Reynolds. He pays me to fix his email and show him how to use his new phone." Lily felt a warmth spread through her chest. This boy had clearly worked hard for his money. "Lilies are a perfect choice. Let me show you what I have." She led him to the cooler where she kept the premium flowers and pulled out several varieties of lilies: classic white stargazers, soft pink Asiatic lilies, and elegant calla lilies. Joey's eyes widened. "They're all so nice." He bit his lip, clearly doing mental calculations. "How much are they?" Lily told him the regular prices, watching as his face fell slightly. She quickly added, "But I'm running a Tuesday special today. 20% off all lilies." There was no such special, but the joy that returned to Joey's face was worth far more than the discount. "Really? That's great." Joey carefully counted out his money. "I think I can get the pink ones then. Mom's favorite color is pink." As Lily prepared the bouquet, adding some baby's breath and fern leaves to complement the pink Asiatic lilies, she chatted with Joey. He was surprisingly easy to talk to for someone so young. "Do you go to Pine Grove Middle School?" she asked, wrapping the stems in green paper. Joey nodded. "7th grade. It's okay. Some of the kids are nice. Some aren't." He shrugged in a way that told Lily more than his words did. "Kids can be tough sometimes," she offered gently. "Yeah, the chair makes me different." He patted the armrest of his wheelchair. "But my mom says being different just means I see things others don't notice." Lily tied a ribbon around the bouquet. "Your mom sounds very wise." "She is. She works really hard too at the hospital. She's not a doctor or anything, just helps with paperwork in the office, but she has to work late a lot." Joey looked around the shop again. "This must be a nice job, being around flowers all day." "It is," Lily agreed. "Though sometimes I could use an extra pair of hands. Especially someone with a good eye for colors." She studied him thoughtfully. "Would you maybe be interested in helping out here sometimes? After school or on weekends? Nothing too difficult, just watering plants, helping customers pick out arrangements, that kind of thing. Joey's eyes widened. Really? You'd let me work here? If your mom says it's okay, Lily said. We could start with Saturdays, maybe just a few hours. I could pay you, of course, and that would be amazing, Joey said, his whole face lighting up. Then he hesitated. But would customers mind? Because of... He gestured at his wheelchair. Lily felt a pang in her heart. How many doors had already been closed to this bright young boy? Joey, she said firmly, you have something many people don't. Patience and a good heart. That matters more than whether you can reach the top shelves. We can figure out the rest. As she rang up the discounted flowers, Joey counted out his money carefully. Lily noticed he had almost nothing left afterward but didn't comment on it. Instead, she added a small chocolate bar to the bag. That's just something extra I give to customers who are buying birthday presents, she explained when he looked confused. For good luck. After Joey left, promising to ask his mom about the job, Lily found herself smiling more than usual. The shop felt emptier somehow without his presence. It had been a while since she'd had such a genuine conversation, even if it was with someone so young. That evening, as Lily closed up shop, sweeping the fallen leaves and petals from the floor, she caught herself wondering if Joey's mother would allow him to work at the shop. She realized how much she hoped the answer would be yes. What Lily couldn't know, was that this chance meeting would end up changing both their lives in ways neither could imagine. The simple act of holding a door open for a boy in a wheelchair was the first step on a path that would lead to extraordinary revelations. The next day was Wednesday, and Lily found herself watching the door more often than usual, wondering if Joey might return. He didn't, but late in the afternoon her phone rang. Petal Dreams, this is Lily speaking. Hi, this is Catherine West, a woman's voice said. My son Joey came to your shop yesterday. He bought me the most beautiful lilies. Her voice softened. He also told me about the job offer. Yes, Lily said, suddenly feeling a bit nervous. I hope that was okay to suggest. More than okay, Catherine replied, and Lily could hear the smile in her voice. I wanted to thank you. Joey hasn't been this excited about something in a long time. If you were serious about giving him a chance, I'd be very grateful. I was absolutely serious, Lily said. Joey seems like a wonderful young man. I could really use his help on Saturdays if that works for your family. They worked out the details. Joey would come this Saturday morning for his first day. As Lily hung up the phone, she felt a sense of anticipation she hadn't experienced in years. There was something special about Joey, something that went beyond kindness or sympathy. What Lily didn't see was the sleek black car that had parked across the street from her shop that afternoon. Inside sat an elderly man with stern features, watching the flower shop with intense interest. On the seat beside him lay a folder with the name West on the tab. The man picked up his phone, dialed, and spoke briefly. I've found him, was all he said before hanging up and driving away. Saturday morning arrived with golden sunshine and a cool breeze. Lily opened Petal Dreams an hour earlier than usual, her hands slightly jittery as she arranged fresh flowers in the display window. She wanted everything to be perfect for Joey's first day. She had even cleared a path between the counters to make sure his wheelchair could move easily around the shop. The bell jingled at exactly 9 o'clock. Joey wheeled himself in wearing a button-up blue shirt, tucked neatly into his jeans. His hair was combed to the side, and he wore a serious expression that made him look older than his 12 years. Good morning, Miss Chen, he said formally. I'm ready for work. Lily smiled, charmed by his professionalism. Good morning, Joey, and please call me Lily. She came around the counter and handed him a small green apron with the shop's logo. First official item of business. Joey's serious face broke into a wide grin as he took the apron. My own uniform, cool. He spread it across his lap, looking for the best way to put it on. I made a few adjustments, Lily explained. It ties at the sides instead of the back, so it should be easier to put on. Joey looked up, surprised. You changed it just for me? Of course. Now let me show you around properly. The next hour flew by as Lily taught Joey about the different flowers in the shop. He absorbed everything like a sponge, asking thoughtful questions about how long each type lasted, what conditions they preferred, and how to tell when they were at their freshest. You know, Lily said. Impressed, most people don't care about these details. Joey shrugged. I like knowing how things work. My mom says I was born asking why about everything. By mid-morning, the shop had several customers, and Lily watched with pride as Joey greeted them with natural warmth. He had a way of making people feel at ease, wheeling himself around to show them different options and offering genuine compliments on their choices. An elderly woman who came in for her weekly bouquet seemed particularly taken with him. What a delightful young man, she told Lily while Joey was wrapping her flowers. He knew exactly which yellows would brighten my dining room. When lunchtime came, Catherine West arrived to check on Joey. She was a slender woman with the same blue eyes as her son, though worry lines etched the corners. She wore scrubs under her coat, clearly on her way to or from a hospital shift. Mom, Joey called excitedly. Come see what I've been doing. Catherine smiled at Lily over her son's head as he proudly showed her the proper way to trim rose stems and how he'd organized the ribbon drawer by color and width. He hasn't stopped talking about this job all week, Catherine told Lily quietly while Joey helped a customer. It's been a long time since I've seen him this happy. He's a natural, Lily replied truthfully. Your son has a real talent with people and flowers. Catherine's eyes grew misty. Before the accident, he was always so active, sports, running around with friends. After she paused, watching her son. Well, some doors closed. It means a lot that you opened this one. If you don't mind me asking, Lily said carefully. What happened? Catherine's face tightened slightly. Car accident 3 years ago. Joey's father was driving. She lowered her voice. He didn't make it. Joey's spinal injury. The doctors say he might walk again someday with the right treatment, but the specialized therapy isn't covered by our insurance. Lily's heart ached. I'm so sorry. Catherine straightened her shoulders. We manage. Joey never complains, which sometimes makes it harder. She checked her watch. I should get going, double shift today. Thank you again for giving him this chance. As weeks passed, Joey became a fixture at Petal Dreams. Regular customers asked for him by name, and Lily began teaching him more advanced skills. How to create simple arrangements, which flowers complemented each other, how to keep blooms lasting longer. His small hands were surprisingly deft, and he had an artistic eye that Lily hadn't expected. One rainy Thursday afternoon when the shop was empty, Joey wheeled himself to the workbench where Lily was preparing an arrangement for a wedding. Can I ask you something? He said, uncharacteristically hesitant. Of course, Lily replied, setting down her clippers. Do you think... He started, then tried again. Do you think it's silly to dream about things that probably won't happen? Lily considered his question carefully. I don't think dreams are ever silly. Even impossible ones have their purpose. What's yours? Your dream, I mean. The question caught Lily off guard. It had been years since anyone had asked her that. I always wanted to create a special garden, she admitted. Not just any garden, but one designed for people who need healing. Patients from hospitals, people with disabilities, anyone who needs the peace that flowers can bring. She smiled a little sadly. But that takes land and money I don't have. Joey nodded seriously. Mine is to create a new kind of flower, something no one has ever seen before, and... He hesitated. To walk again, of course. Lily felt a lump form in her throat. Those are beautiful dreams, Joey, and neither one is silly. The bell jingled, ending their conversation as customers entered, but the moment had created a new bond between them. The following Saturday, Joey arrived with a small, worn book tucked into his backpack, Beginner's Guide to Botany. During quiet moments, he would read intently, occasionally asking Lily questions about plant genetics and hybridization. You know, Lily told him, there's a botanical garden about an hour from here. They do workshops sometimes. Maybe we could visit one weekend. Joey's face lit up. Really? That would be amazing. The plan was set for the following month. Lily would drive Joey and Catherine to the botanical garden for a special workshop on plant cultivation. It would be their first outing together outside the shop. Meanwhile, business at Petal Dreams was improving. Lily couldn't be certain, but she suspected Joey's presence had something to do with it. People responded to his enthusiasm, and several new customers mentioned hearing about the wonderful boy at the flower shop. One afternoon, Joey was helping an older gentleman select flowers for his wedding anniversary when the man asked, Have we met before, young man? You seem familiar. Joey shook his head. I don't think so, sir. I would remember. The man studied Joey's face. Do you mind my asking your last name? West, Joey replied. Joey West. The man's eyebrows rose slightly. West? Any relation to the Westingtons of Oak Ridge County? Joey laughed. No, sir. Just plain West. Now for your wife, I think these pink peonies would be perfect. They mean happy marriage in flower language. The man nodded, but Lily noticed he watched Joey thoughtfully for the rest of his visit. After he left, she found herself wondering about the exchange. It wasn't the first time someone had seemed to take a special interest in Joey. Twice now, she'd noticed a black car parked across the street when Joey was working, though it always drove away when she looked too long. One evening as they were closing up, Joey was uncharacteristically quiet. Everything okay? Lily asked, wiping down the counter. Joey spun his wheelchair back and forth slightly, a habit he had when thinking deeply. Mom's been getting weird calls, he finally said. Someone asking questions about my dad. What kind of questions? About where he was from, his family. Mom got upset, said it was nobody's business. Joey looked up. I don't remember much about him. I was only 9 when he died. Lily sensed his need to talk. What do you remember? A small smile touched Joey's lips. He was tall. Really tall. And he told the best stories. Adventures about knights and dragons, but also real stories about traveling to different countries. Joey's eyes grew distant with memory. He taught me how to play chess. And he could name every star in the sky, I think. He sounds wonderful, Lily said softly. Mom doesn't like talking about him. I think it makes her too sad. Joey fidgeted with the brake on his wheelchair. Sometimes I wonder if I'm like him. If he'd be proud of me. I'm sure he would be, Lily said, her heart aching for this thoughtful boy who carried so many questions. Neither of them noticed the black car that slowly drove past the shop, or the camera lens that briefly pointed their way through the window. The next day, a delivery arrived at Petal Dreams, a package addressed to Lily. Inside was a rare orchid plant, exotic and clearly expensive, with a note that simply read, Thank you for your kindness to Joey West, it has been noticed. There was no signature, and when Lily called the delivery service, they could only tell her it had been paid for in cash. That same afternoon, as Lily helped Joey create his first solo floral arrangement, she couldn't shake the feeling that something important was about to happen, that the simple, peaceful life of her little flower shop was about to change in ways she couldn't imagine. The mysterious orchid sat in the shop window, its purple and white petals catching the morning light. Lily had shown it to Joey the day after it arrived, but hadn't mentioned the strange note. No need to worry him with something that was probably nothing more than a grateful customer being dramatic. Still, she found herself watching the street more carefully, noting unfamiliar faces who lingered too long outside the shop. Twice more she spotted the black car, and once she was sure she saw someone taking photos. The thought made her uneasy, but she pushed it aside. Petal Dreams was doing better than ever, and Joey was flourishing in ways that made her heart swell with pride. One busy Saturday morning, the shop bell jingled, and Lily looked up to see a man who immediately commanded attention. Tall and imposing, he wore a tailored gray suit that probably cost more than Lily's monthly rent. His silver hair was cut perfectly, and though he must have been in his 70s, he stood straight as a pine tree, his sharp eyes taking in every detail of the shop. Joey was helping an elderly couple pick out flowers for their granddaughter's graduation and didn't notice the newcomer. Welcome to Petal Dreams, Lily said, approaching the... Eamon, can I help you find something today? The man gave her a polite smile that didn't reach his eyes. Perhaps. I understand you employ a young man named Joey West? Lily felt a prickle of unease. He helps out here on weekends, yes. May I ask why you're interested? The man reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a business card. My name is Harold Blackwood. I represent Blackwood Industries. He handed her the card, which was heavy and embossed with gold lettering. I'd like to speak with the boy if possible. Lily studied the card. Blackwood Industries was one of the largest corporations in the country. Technology, pharmaceuticals, real estate. They owned half the skyline in major cities. Mr. Blackwood, she said carefully. Joey is 12 years old. If you have business with him, it should go through his mother. A flash of irritation crossed the man's face, quickly replaced by that same empty smile. Of course. I've been trying to contact Ms. West, but she seems reluctant to speak with me. Perhaps you could help facilitate an introduction? Before Lily could answer, Joey's voice called out, "Lily!" Mr. and Mrs. Palmer loved the arrangement. They took the yellow roses with... He stopped abruptly as he wheeled around the corner and saw the visitor. For a moment, nobody spoke. Blackwood stared at Joey with an intensity that made Lily want to step between them. There was something in his gaze, shock, recognition, and something deeper that she couldn't name. "You must be Joey," Blackwood said, his voice suddenly softer. Joey glanced at Lily, then back at the man. "Yes, sir. Can I help you find some flowers?" Blackwood seemed momentarily at a loss for words. Something Lily suspected was rare for him. "You look exactly like him," he said quietly, almost to himself. Joey frowned. "Like who?" "Your father." The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. Joey's hands tightened on his wheelchair armrests. "You knew my dad?" he asked, his voice small. Blackwood straightened, seeming to recover his composure. "Yes, very well, in fact." He glanced at Lily, then back to Joey. "Is there somewhere we could talk privately? What I have to tell you is rather significant." Lily moved to Joey's side. "I don't think that's appropriate, Mr. Blackwood. Joey is a minor. Any conversation should include his mother." "I agree completely," came a voice from the doorway. They all turned to see Catherine West standing there. Still in her hospital scrubs, her face pale but determined. "Joey, come here, please." Joey, looking confused, wheeled himself to his mother's side. "Mom, this man says he knew Dad." Catherine's eyes never left Blackwood. "I know who he is." Her voice was cold. "And he's leaving now." Blackwood didn't move. 12 years, Catherine. 12 years I've been searching. You can't just send me away. Watch me." Catherine put a protective hand on Joey's shoulder. "We want nothing from you. Even if it means denying Joey his birthright?" Blackwood challenged. "His legacy? The medical care that could help him walk again?" Joey looked up at his mother, eyes wide. "Mom, what's he talking about?" The shop had emptied of other customers, leaving the four of them in a tense standoff among the flowers. Lily felt caught in something she didn't understand, but one thing was clear. Joey was upset, and that was enough for her to intervene. "Mr. Blackwood," she said firmly, "I think you should leave now. Whatever this is about, a flower shop full of strangers isn't the place to discuss it." Blackwood considered her for a moment, then nodded slightly. "You're right, of course." He reached into his pocket and pulled out another business card, handing it to Catherine. "My private number. Please call me. For Joey's sake, if not for other reasons." After he left, the shop felt unnaturally quiet. Joey looked between his mother and Lily, confusion and worry on his face. "Mom, who was that man? How did he know Dad?" Catherine sighed, suddenly looking exhausted. "It's complicated, Joey, and not something for right now." She turned to Lily. "I'm sorry about this. We should go." "No," Joey said with unusual firmness. "I want to know what's going on. That man said something about helping me walk again, and about Dad. I deserve to know." Lily gently touched Catherine's arm. "Why don't we go to the back room? I'll close the shop for lunch and you two can talk privately." Catherine hesitated, then nodded. "Thank you, Lily." Lily quickly flipped the "closed for lunch" sign on the door and led them to the small room behind the shop where she took her breaks and did paperwork. It wasn't much, just a tiny table, a mini fridge, and a couple of chairs. But it was private. "I'll leave you two alone," she said, but Joey grabbed her hand. "Please stay," he said. "Please." Catherine looked at her son, then nodded to Lily. "It's okay. You've become important to Joey. You should hear this too." They settled around the small table, Catherine taking a deep breath before beginning. "Joey, that man is Harold Blackwood. He was your father's father." Joey's eyes widened. "My grandfather? But you said Dad's parents died before I was born." "I thought it was better than the truth," Catherine said softly. "Your father's name wasn't really Daniel West, it was James Blackwood." Lily tried to hide her shock. The Blackwoods were practically American royalty. Old money, powerful, with connections to politics and business that went back generations. Your father was the only son of Harold Blackwood. He was supposed to take over the family business someday, but James had different dreams. He wanted to travel, to write, to live simply. Catherine smiled sadly. "We met when I was working at a resort where he was staying under a fake name. He was running away from his family obligations. We fell in love. When James told his father he wanted to marry me, a nobody without money or connections, Harold threatened to cut him off completely. James didn't care. We eloped and moved far away. James took my last name and we started over. He was writing a book when, her voice faltered, when the accident happened. Joey sat very still, trying to process everything. So that man, he's really my grandfather? And we're rich? James was disinherited, Catherine explained. We were never part of that world and I've worked hard to keep it that way. The Blackwoods care about power and money, not people. But Mom, Joey said, if they have money, maybe they could help with the special treatments the doctors talked about. The ones that insurance won't cover. Catherine's face tightened. Everything from them comes with strings attached, Joey. Very tight strings. What does he want? Lily asked quietly. After all this time, why come looking now? Catherine stared at the business card on the table. Harold is getting old. The Blackwood Empire needs an heir. James was an only child and Joey is his only child. She looked at her son. They probably want to groom you to take over someday. The room fell silent as they all considered the implications. Finally, Joey spoke up, his voice thoughtful. I think we should talk to him, he said. Not to agree to anything, but just to listen. Dad would want me to make up my own mind, wouldn't he? Catherine looked at her son with a mixture of pride and fear. At 12, he sometimes showed wisdom beyond his years. Maybe, she conceded, but not alone. Never alone with him. I'll be with you, Lily said without hesitation. The words surprised even her, but she knew they were true. In just a few months, Joey and Catherine had become like family to her. If you want me there, I'll come. Joey reached out and took his mother's hand in one of his and Lily's in the other. We'll face him together, he said with a small smile. The three of us. Catherine agreed to call Blackwood and arrange a meeting for the following weekend. As they left the shop that day, Lily watched them go with a sense that life was about to change dramatically for all of them. The quiet existence she'd built around her flowers and her small shop suddenly seemed fragile, like petals ready to scatter in a strong wind. That night, Lily dreamed of gardens, vast, beautiful spaces filled with healing plants and flowers where people in wheelchairs could move freely along wide paths. In the center of the garden stood Joey, tall and straight, no wheelchair in sight, tending to a flower no one had ever seen before. When she woke, the dream stayed with her, along with a strange certainty that somehow, it wasn't just a dream but a glimpse of what might be. The Blackwood Tower stood like a giant glass needle piercing the sky, its windows reflecting clouds and sunlight. Lily had driven past it many times but never imagined she'd be walking through its gleaming lobby, accompanying Joey and Catherine to meet the man who owned it all. The security guards nodded respectfully as they approached the front desk. We have an appointment with Mr. Blackwood, Catherine said, her voice steady despite the nervous way she smoothed her dress. The nicest one she owned, but still obviously not expensive. Joey wore a button-up shirt and his best jeans. His hair was neatly combed and he sat up straight in his wheelchair, taking in the enormous lobby with wide eyes. Everything's so shiny, he whispered to Lily. Lily squeezed his shoulder gently. She had chosen to wear a simple blue dress with a cardigan, professional but not pretentious. She wasn't trying to impress Harold Blackwood. She was here for Joey. A sleek private elevator whisked them to the top floor where a woman in a tailored suit greeted them. Mr. Blackwood is waiting in the conference room. May I get you anything? Water, coffee? No, thank you, Catherine answered for all of them. The conference room had floor-to-ceiling windows offering a breathtaking view of the city. Harold Blackwood stood as they entered, flanked by a younger man holding a tab. Let and a woman with a serious expression whom he introduced as his attorney. Thank you for coming, Blackwood said, gesturing to the large table. Please sit anywhere you like. Joey wheeled himself to the table, looking small against the massive leather chair beside him. Lily and Catherine sat on either side of him, a united front. I've had rooms prepared for you in my home, Blackwood began, but my assistant tells me you've declined my invitation to stay there. We're comfortable in our own home, Catherine replied evenly. Blackwood nodded. Of course, perhaps after we've had a chance to get to know each other better. He looked directly at Joey. I want to apologize for how I approached you at the flower shop. It was overwhelming, I'm sure. I've been searching for you for so long that I forgot how shocking it must be from your perspective. Joey studied his grandfather with curious eyes. Why did you look for us now? Mom says you and Dad didn't get along. Blackwood's expression tightened briefly. Your father and I had different views on many things. But losing him... He paused, and for a moment, genuine grief shadowed his face. I assumed he was still out there somewhere, living his new life. When I discovered he had died years ago and that I had a grandson I'd never met... He spread his hands. Family is everything, Joey. Yet you disowned your only son, Catherine pointed out. A mistake I deeply regret, Blackwood said. One I'd like to make amends for, starting with Joey's medical care. He nodded to his assistant, who slid a folder across the table. Inside were brochures for a medical center in Switzerland, along with a detailed treatment plan. The Lucerne Rehabilitation Institute is the best in the world for spinal cord injuries, Blackwood explained. Their new stem cell therapy has shown remarkable results in cases like Joey's. They believe he could regain significant mobility, possibly even walk again with time and therapy. Joey leaned forward, unable to hide his excitement. Really, I could walk again? The treatment is experimental, the attorney interjected. But Mr. Blackwood has arranged for Joey to be accepted into their program immediately, all expenses paid. Catherine flipped through the materials, her face guarded. And what's the catch? What do you want in return? Time with my grandson, Blackwood said simply. A chance for Joey to get to know his heritage, his family history. The opportunity for him to learn about the business he will someday inherit if he chooses. I don't want Joey being groomed to take over your company, Catherine said firmly. He's 12. He should be thinking about video games and friends, not corporate takeovers. Mom, Joey said quietly, I want to try the treatment. Catherine looked at her son, conflict clear in her eyes. Lily knew what she was thinking. What mother wouldn't want to give her child the chance to walk again? But at what cost? Perhaps, Lily suggested, speaking for the first time, we could discuss a compromise? The medical treatment doesn't need to be tied to Joey's future role in the company. Blackwood regarded her with interest. You're the florist. Lily Chen, correct? Yes. Joey speaks very highly of you. He tells me you've taught him a great deal about flowers and plants. Joey has a natural talent, Lily said. He doesn't need me to teach him much. Humility, Blackwood noted with a slight smile. A rare quality these days. He turned back to Catherine. I understand your concerns. What if we separate the issues? Joey receives the medical treatment with no strings attached. Meanwhile, he spends time with me on a regular but limited basis, say, 1 weekend a month, to learn about his family history. No pressure about the company or his future, just getting to know each other. Catherine hesitated. And school? His friends? The flower shop? All continue as normal, Blackwood assured her. The treatment in Switzerland would require an initial stay of 2 months, but after that, most therapy could be done here with occasional follow-up visits. 2 months is a long time, Joey said, looking worried. What about petal dreams? Lily felt warmth spread through her chest at his concern. The shop will be there when you get back, she promised. And maybe I could visit you in Switzerland for a weekend? They must have amazing gardens there. Joey's face brightened. That would be awesome. Blackwood watched this exchange with calculating eyes. In fact, he said slowly, I had been planning to establish a botanical research center as part of Blackwood Industries' environmental initiative. Perhaps Ms. Chen would be interested in consulting on the project. Her expertise with flowers, combined with Joey's interest in botany, could make it a meaningful family endeavor. Lily blinked in surprise. A botanical research center? Yes, land has already been purchased outside the city. The plans are preliminary, but with the right people involved. He left the sentence hanging. Joey's eyes were wide with excitement, like a place where people could create new types of flowers. And study plants that help heal people? Exactly that, Blackwood confirmed. Your father always loved nature. It seems you've inherited his passion along with his looks. For the first time, Catherine's expression softened slightly. James did love plants. He was always bringing home strange seeds from his travels, trying to grow things in our tiny apartment. A moment of shared remembrance passed between her and Blackwood, perhaps the first thing they had ever agreed on. The rest of the meeting focused on practical details. The attorney provided documents outlining the medical treatment plan, the visitation schedule, and financial arrangements that made Lily's head spin. Everything would be provided for: Joey's care, their travel expenses, even compensation for Catherine's missed work. This is very generous, Catherine acknowledged, still cautious. But I need time to think about it. To discuss it with Joey privately? Of course, Blackwood said. Take all the time you need. He paused. Though the next opening for the treatment program is in 3 weeks. It would be ideal to make arrangements soon. As they prepared to leave, Blackwood asked for a moment alone with Joey. Catherine started to protest, but Joey said, "It's okay, Mom, just for a minute." Reluctantly, Catherine and Lily stepped into the hallway, though they kept the door open, watching from a distance. Blackwood knelt beside Joey's wheelchair, putting them at eye level. He reached into his pocket and pulled out an old pocket watch, placing it in Joey's hand. "This belonged to your father," he said quietly. "He left it behind when he went away. I've kept it all these years, hoping to return it to him someday." Joey examined the watch, running his thumb over its engraved surface. "Thank you," he said simply. "You're very welcome," Blackwood replied. "You remind me so much of him at your age, thoughtful, observant." He hesitated. "Whatever your mother decides about the treatment, about our arrangement, I hope you'll keep the watch. It's yours by right." Joey tucked the watch carefully into his pocket, his expression solemn. "I'll think about everything you said, about the treatment and spending time together, but yes, if I ever run the company someday really far in the future," Joey said, "I'd want to do good things with it. Things that help people, not just make money." Something like respect flickered in Blackwood's eyes. "You know, that sounds exactly like something your father would have said." He stood up. "I think you and I will get along just fine, Joey West." On the drive home, the car was mostly quiet. Joey held the pocket watch, opening and closing it, watching the second hand tick around its face. Finally, Catherine broke the silence. "What do you think, Joey?" "It's a lot to take in." Joey looked out the window for a long moment before answering. "I think Dad would want me to try the treatment, to have the chance to walk again." He turned to his mother. "But I don't want to leave you alone. Or Lily in the shop." "Oh, sweetheart," Catherine reached back to squeeze his hand. "Don't worry about us. This is about what's best for you." "What about the research center thing?" Joey asked, looking at Lily. "Would you really want to work on something like that?" Lily kept her eyes on the road, thinking carefully before she answered. "It sounds amazing, honestly. But I'm not sure we can trust Mr. Blackwood's intentions. People with that much money and power usually have angles we can't see." "He gave me Dad's watch," Joey said quietly. "That means something, right?" Neither Lily nor Catherine had an easy answer for that. The watch was a tangible connection to the father Joey barely remembered, and proof that despite everything, Harold Blackwood had kept a piece of his son close all these years. As they pulled up to Catherine and Joey's apartment building, Lily noticed a sleek black car parked nearby. A man in a suit stood beside it, seemingly waiting for them. "Mr. Blackwood would like to invite you all to dinner this evening," he said when they approached. "His private chef has prepared a special meal. A car will come for you at 7 if you accept." Catherine looked ready to decline, but Joey spoke first. "Can we think about it?" "It's been a really big day," the man nodded respectfully to Joey. "Of course, young sir. Please call this number when you've decided." He handed Joey a card and returned to his car. "Young sir," Joey repeated with a small laugh once the man had driven away. "No one's ever called me that before." Lily looked between Joey and Catherine, sensing the weight of the decisions before them. Two worlds were colliding, the simple, hard-working life they'd known, and the world of wealth and privilege that was suddenly opening its doors. "Whatever you decide," Lily told them both, "I'm here for you. Either way." Joey smiled at her, the pocket watch still clutched in his hand. "I know," he said. "That's why we're going to be okay." 6 months later, Pine Grove experienced its first real snowfall of winter. Thick white flakes drifted past the windows of Petal Dreams, where Lily arranged a display of holiday poinsettias. The shop looked different now, expanded into the vacant space next door, with wider aisles, custom-height counters, and a small greenhouse area in the back where experimental plants grew under special lights. The bell jingled, and Lily looked up with a smile, expecting the mailman or perhaps an early customer. Instead, she saw a familiar wheelchair coming through the door, pushed by Catherine. "Joey!" Lily dropped her scissors and rushed forward, enveloping the boy in a warm hug. "You're back. Why didn't you tell me you were coming home today?" Joey grinned up at her, his face more filled out than when she'd last seen him 2 months ago. "Wanted to surprise you. Do I still have my job? Always, Lily laughed, stepping back to look at him properly. How was the last round of treatment? You look wonderful. Catherine smiled, unwinding her scarf. Show her, Joey. Joey took a deep breath. He gripped the armrests of his wheelchair and with careful, deliberate movements, pushed himself to a standing position. His legs trembled slightly and he kept one hand on the chair for support. But he was standing, actually standing on his own 2 feet. Lily's hands flew to her mouth. Oh my goodness, Joey. I can only do it for about a minute right now, he said, his face flushed with effort and pride. And walking is still really hard, just a few steps with the parallel bars. But the doctors say I'm making incredible progress. As if to prove his point, his legs began to shake more noticeably, and he carefully lowered himself back into the chair. The effort had clearly exhausted him, but his smile remained brilliant. That's amazing, Lily said, wiping unexpected tears from her eyes. I knew the treatments were going well from our video calls, but seeing it in person... We have more news too, Catherine said, her eyes bright with excitement. The doctors think Joey might be ready for regular school again next fall. Not full days at first, but part-time, with just a walker, Joey added. Maybe not even that eventually. Lily looked around her transformed shop. So much has changed. I can hardly believe it's only been 6 months. Indeed, everything had changed after that pivotal meeting with Harold Blackwood. Joey and Catherine had gone to Switzerland for the initial 2-month treatment, with Lily joining them for a long weekend midway through. The improvement had been remarkable. First feeling returning to Joey's legs, then small movements, and finally the ability to stand with support. Blackwood had kept his word about the Botanical Research Center, too. Construction had already begun on a state-of-the-art facility just outside town. Lily had been named Director of Operations, a position that still felt surreal to her. The plan was to open next spring with research programs focused on medicinal plants and accessible garden design, 2 areas Joey had specifically requested. The bell jingled again, and Harold Blackwood himself entered, stamping snow from his expensive shoes. He'd mellowed somewhat over the months, though Lily still found him intimidating at times. Today, however, he looked almost grandfatherly in a casual sweater, having ditched his usual business attire. I thought I'd find you both here, he said to Joey and Catherine. Couldn't wait to show off your progress, could you? Joey grinned. Lily needed to see it in person. FaceTime doesn't count. Indeed not, Blackwood agreed. He nodded to Lily. The greenhouse expansion looks excellent. You've made good use of the investment. It had taken Lily weeks to accept Blackwood's offer to finance improvements to Petal Dreams. She'd been determined not to be bought, not to lose the shop's soul in exchange for fancy fixtures. But in the end, the practical benefits, especially the wheelchair accessibility, had won her over. The plants are thriving, she told him. Especially the experimental hybrid roses Joey started before leaving. You should see them in the greenhouse. This was the most surprising development of all, the genuine bond that had formed between Joey and his grandfather. It wasn't perfect. There were still tense moments, especially when Blackwood's controlling nature emerged or when he made thoughtless comments about Catherine's modest background. But his love for Joey was undeniable, and he'd shown unexpected patience with Joey's interest in botany rather than business. Actually, Blackwood said, I came to invite you all to dinner tonight, a small celebration for Joey's return and his progress. We just got back this morning, Catherine protested mildly. We haven't even unpacked. All the more reason not to cook, Blackwood countered. Besides, I have something I want to discuss with all of you. Joey and Lily exchanged glances. In these past months, they'd learned that when Harold Blackwood wanted to discuss something, it usually meant a major announcement. Nothing bad, Blackwood assured them, noting their expressions. Just some ideas for the research center, and perhaps a proposal about your living arrangements, Catherine. That apartment is hardly suitable now that Joey is beginning to walk again. Too many stairs, too narrow hallways. Catherine's face tightened slightly. Housing had become a point of contention between them. Blackwood had repeatedly offered to buy them a more accessible home, but Catherine valued her independence fiercely. Let's not get into that right now, she said firmly. Dinner would be lovely, thank you. Later that evening, they gathered in Blackwood's mansion, a place that had once seemed impossibly intimidating but had gradually become somewhat familiar over monthly dinners. Joey was showing Lily his grandfather's collection of rare botanical books when Catherine's voice called from the front hallway. "Joey! Lily, come quickly!" Something in her tone made them hurry. They found Catherine standing in the entryway, staring at a large covered object in the center of the foyer. Blackwood stood beside it, looking unusually nervous. "What's going on?" Joey asked, wheeling forward. "A homecoming gift," Blackwood said. "For both of you." He pulled away the covering to reveal a stunning glass sculpture of a flowering plant, its blooms reaching upward in a graceful arc, roots visible beneath the soil in the base. It was beautiful, but it was more than just art. It was an exact replica of the hybrid flower Joey had been developing before leaving for Switzerland, the one he'd named Hope Blossom. "How did you—" Joey began. Lily provided photos and descriptions, Blackwood explained. The artist worked from those. But there's more. He pressed a small button on the base, and soft lights illuminated the sculpture from within, making it glow like something magical. "It's beautiful," Catherine said softly. "It's for the entrance of the research center," Blackwood continued. "The board approved the official name this morning. It will be called the West Blackwood Botanical Research and Healing Center. A bit of a mouthful, perhaps, but it honors both sides of Joey's heritage." Joey's eyes widened. "You're naming it after Mom, too? Not just Blackwood?" "Your mother is part of who you are," Blackwood said with a small nod to Catherine. "And I've come to respect her dedication to you, her principles." He cleared his throat. "I don't always show it well, but I am grateful that James found someone who loved him for himself, not his name or money." Catherine looked startled at this unexpected acknowledgement. "Thank you," she said simply. "Now," Blackwood continued briskly, as if uncomfortable with the emotional moment, "about your living situation. I have a proposal that might work for everyone." He led them into his study and spread out a set of architectural plans on the large desk. They showed a modest but beautiful home with a distinctly modern design, all on one level with wide doorways and accessible features throughout. "It's on the edge of town, near the site of the research center," Blackwood explained. "Close enough for an easy commute, but not right in the city. There's land for gardens, lots of gardens." Catherine studied the plans, her expression guarded. "It's lovely, but—" "Before you object," Blackwood interrupted, "this is not a gift. It's part of the compensation package for the center's leadership team. Lily would have the cottage on the east side of the property as operations director, and you and Joey would have this main residence as research director and education coordinator." Joey looked up in surprise. "Me, education coordinator?" "You have a gift for explaining complex things simply," Blackwood said. "The center will host school groups, people with disabilities, veterans programs. Who better to lead that initiative than someone who understands those challenges personally?" "But I'm just a kid," Joey protested. "You won't always be," his grandfather pointed out. "This is planning for the future. Your future." Lily watched the conversation unfold, feeling a strange mix of emotions. 6 months ago, she had been a simple florist with a small shop and a quiet life. Now she was about to become the director of a research center, possibly move to a cottage on a shared property with Joey and Catherine, and be part of something much bigger than she'd ever imagined. "What do you think?" Joey asked her. "Could you see yourself, Lee? Being there? Being neighbors?" Lily looked at the plans again, at the thoughtfully designed spaces, the greenhouse between the two homes, the accessible gardens. "It's like something from a dream," she admitted. "But a good dream." Catherine still looked hesitant. "We'd want legal agreements, clear boundaries about ownership and responsibilities. And Joey's education comes first, before any work at the center." "Of course," Blackwood agreed readily. "Have your own lawyers review everything." Later, as they sat around the dinner table, Joey raised his glass of sparkling cider. "I want to make a toast," he said, his voice steady and sure. 6 months ago, I thought the best thing that could happen to me was finding a job at a flower shop." He smiled at Lily. "And it was pretty great. But now I know that was just the beginning." "To new beginnings," Catherine said, raising her glass. "And to unlikely friendships," Blackwood added, nodding to Lily. "To family," Lily concluded, "in all its unexpected forms." As their glasses clinked together, Lily thought about the journey that had brought them here. A boy in a wheelchair struggling to enter a flower shop. A simple act of kindness. And now a future none of them could have imagined. Outside, Snow continued to fall, covering Pine Grove in a blanket of white that would eventually melt to reveal spring's new growth, just as the challenges they'd faced had given way to unexpected possibilities. Joey caught Lily's eye across the table and grinned as if reading her thoughts. Tomorrow he would be back at Petal Dreams arranging flowers from his wheelchair, but now with the knowledge that someday soon he might do so on his own 2 feet. And beyond that stretched a future filled with promise, with purpose, with the family they had built together, the florist, the boy, and the people who loved them.